Vandersloot gives it up. Parker to tie. You bet. Here's the 0-1. This is going to be a tough play. Bryant, the Cubs winning the World Series. Finds Rose. Rose trying to get open, fires away. Bang! It's over. The Bulls win at the buzzer. DeRozan to win it! No! DeMar DeRozan delivers! Anderson hits it in the air to right. Back at the wall, and the White Sox win it! Big one-way, Fields stumbling. Trying to cut it back. Justin Fields making magic happen. There goes Fields. Touchdown! Who will receive it first after it is hoisted by the captain? Will it be the 40-year-old defenseman who has longed for this moment? Yes, sir. Walking right, Chicago! Woo!
What is going on, everybody? This is Mike Hughes, and you're listening to Mike on the Mic, everything sports-related podcast and show at 1252 Sports Entertainment Network. Obviously, if you're here, you already understand, so I don't got to tell you the Pacific, Western, Eastern, Central, and Mountain times that we are on. You're here. We're live. We're present with my Memphis brother, Randy Jowers. Randy, thank you for coming on the show, man. It's an honor. How we doing this evening?
Man, it's an honor to be here on Mike on the Mic. Honored to just be. I'm a fan, and now I'm a guest. I couldn't ask for more.
Man, Randy, you know, it's been crazy. I've been working with you for what now? 6 months? It's been nothing but a blessing. Real quick, can you just tell the people where they could find you, what we've been up to, and what's coming to the future for In Off the Bench? And tell us about your new podcast coming out soon. New merch, new hats. I'm loving it.
Absolutely. I appreciate the love. Yeah, so In Off the Bench, where we interview the up-and-coming college stars, some pros mixed in there, business people, young ladies, young men, the up-and-comers in the industry. We also get them sponsored with some NIL deals. So Jim has done a great job. Me and DB and Jim started this thing, you know, a couple years ago during the pandemic. It's really morphed into something that we really never imagined it would. So shout out to In Off the Bench. You can find them on Apple, Spotify, Google, anywhere you want to find it. Wherever you get your podcast, you can find it there. For my latest little pet project, DB and I host a podcast called Same-ish Different Dad Podcast, where we look through the world dad shit from a dad lens. Because I got a lot of kids, Mike.
I know. And, you know, it's all right. I'm holding down the fort. I'm holding down the fort for you, Randy. I'm keeping the pimp game alive. We're doing our thing. Single life. I'm doing it for me, and I'm doing it for you.
Do it for me. I'm living through you.
Exactly. When everybody asks me, Mike, why don't you have a girl? Why do you have all these women? Why are you this way? I go, I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for Randy and all the other proud fathers who are happily married and happily enjoying their life. So I wouldn't like to say I'm a man of the people, but I am. So kicking it off real quick, Randy, let's talk some ish about Ja. And if you guys don't know what ish is, it's a word I learned from Randy and my guys down in Memphis. It's amazing, you know, getting to be able to talk to these guys, getting the slang, getting everything going on over there. I say ish all the time now. Randy, take us through, though, you know, growing up where you are in Tennessee, the Memphis Grizzlies, let's be real, it's rough. The same way for my Bulls. You know, I was born in 2000, so I just missed everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
What has that been like for you, though, this resurgence? Ja Morant, Dylan Brooks, our boy Desmond Baines, and many other individuals. What is that like for you to understand that this is a product that is not only being believed in, but there's truth to it. And they have the stats to back it up. And they have the credentials to be able to say, hey, this team is a serious NBA championship caliber type team. What has that all been like for you?
It's been crazy. You know, taking it back, you talked about 2000, 2001, I think 2002 is when Memphis Grizzlies, they came here. They came from Vancouver. So me and DB and Jim, my other co-host, we were all in high school. So we grew up, we didn't have an NBA team growing up. So we became obviously fans of them and what this team has meant to the city. First pro franchise that we really had outside, you know, major franchise. And what the Grizzlies were known for years and years was that grit and grind, you know, Zebo, Marc Gasol, Mike Conley, Tony Allen, and they were a good story, right? Made it to the Western Conference Finals one time. I'll never forgive Steve Nash for one thing and one thing only. He flopped when Zebo didn't punch him. I think we would have won that game, Mike, but I'm not salty about it. But I think that what the Grizzlies are now is it's still that same grit and grind mentality, but you got a legitimate superstar. And you got players like Desmond Bane, Triple J, Dylan Brooks, Tyus Jones, DeAnthony Melton. This is a most complete team the Grizzlies have ever had. And this front office, for what they've been known to botch drafts, I'm talking to you, Chris Wallace, Hasheem Thabeet with the number 2, number 3 pick. You passed on Steph Curry. You passed on James Harden. So to be able to see it come full circle and get a guy like Ja, build around Ja with guys like Triple J and Desmond Bane, it's special. They embody what the city is. And for me, the most special thing has been the way Ja has become Memphis. Ja's not from here. He's from South Carolina. But the way he has embodied the city and taken it on and lets people know, Memphis, we don't run from the smoke. We run up the chimney. We want all the smoke. That's a perfect mantra for this city.
Right. And, we spoke about it many times, and we know Jim's our Russell Westbrook guy. We love Jim over here. But it's been very hard to tolerate Jim this season. But I love Jim. It's not his fault. He's a diehard Westbrook fan, and I love everything about Jim Cross. But my thing right now, and I feel like this is where it's been closer with me and you having conversations about it, is the mentality and where these guys grew up and their upbringings. Derrick Rose and Ja Morant. And I'm going to sit up here right now and I'm going to say it with a straight face because I truly do believe it. Everybody and their mom knows the Windy City Assassin, the son of Shy, the man, the myth, the legend, Derrick Rose himself. I'm his biggest fanboy. I've read his book. I've read his epilogue. I followed his entire career. That man is Chicago to me. That man is the reason why I do all these nonprofits and I try to do all these amazing things and just try to be better because he instilled that in me at a very young age. Randy, with all of that ass kissing being said, right now, Ja Morant at the ripe age of what, 23, 24?
22.
22. Okay, so me and Ja are the same age, which is terrifying. But it comes down to it like this, Randy. I'm going to sit up here and I'm going to say Ja Morant's season right now is better than the Derrick Rose MVP season. It just truly is. I think it is. Statistically, right now, in that MVP season with Derrick Rose, he averaged 24 points. Ja Morant right now is sitting 27, 28, far more efficient from three, doing amazing things. Now, obviously, the big difference is he's not first in the West, the same way Derrick was first in the East. And that's a big part of why he won the award, because the Bulls literally went from dog shit to, first in the East. Holy crap. Everyone's terrified. Boston's shaking in their boots. Miami's shaking in their boots. Cleveland still don't know what's going on. And it comes down to it to where that's what embodied it. The too fast, too big, too strong. That was Derrick Rose. Ja Morant, to me, and Randy, we've talked about this time and time again.
Yeah.
He's Derrick Rose with a better three ball because obviously, 2009, no one's trying to teach these kids how to shoot threes. 2020, 2018, Ja Morant.
Steph Curry.
Right. Ja Morant in college, three ball, all the time. Now he's gotten it at an efficient level. Randy, to you, out of the three names I just said, Ja Morant, Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook, all at the age of 22, who to you is number one? And who do you think, if Ja can continue this, does he surpass both of them?
Yes, I do think he will surpass both of them. I think that right now, today, Russell Westbrook's he's supposed to still be in his prime, but give me Ja all day. Obviously, Derrick Rose injuries has been the story of his career. That's where we're going to have to see. Is Ja Morant going to be able to stay healthy? The one thing that I worry with Ja is it's not, everybody says it because he goes to the rim, and that's not what it is for me. It's his build. Derrick Rose was 200. He's 6'2", 200 when he was in his prime. He was thick, right? He was muscular. John Morant's put on weight, but he might be 180 pounds soaking wet. And he's got a lot of that herky-jerky. And like the other night, he was playing in a game, he Euro steps in and he hyperextends his hip. That's the kind of movement that a normal player, a normal human doesn't make. But right. Ja's so athletic. That's the only thing that scares me. So health thrown out the window. Obviously, that was Derrick Rose had been healthy. We don't know. We might be talking about the top 10 greatest players of all time. That's the path he was on. Injuries. And for the Memphis connection, those that do not know, that didn't follow this, Derrick Rose came to Memphis for a year and played for the Memphis Tigers, played for Cal. They lost the national championship, but he was unbelievable. And at the time, in 2000, I think it was 2008, right? 2007?
Mm.
Unbelievable. I had never seen a player that young, just turned 18, that could take over in a tournament and do the things he could do. And Ja has that killer instinct from day one. Ja talked about it. You got to think, too, Derrick Rose came in as the undisputed. He was the number one pick. We got to get this guy. Ja did not. It was debated, and everybody said, oh, well, New Orleans Zion, they're getting him. That's out the question. Then Ja went number 2. There were people that questioned at the time. Like, now people want to go back and say, well, maybe they should have taken Ja with the number 1 pick. Hindsight being 2020, people were sleeping on Ja coming out of Murray State. They were sleeping on him, even though he was showing people in that tournament he was a killer, and he's still a killer. My biggest thing that I love about it is that Derrick Rose he didn't have the team around him that Ja does, and that's just facts. But Ja's willing to use those guys around him. He doesn't care if he's averaging 40, 50 a game. He wants to win. It's a winner's mentality, and that's the culture that I think Ja's bought into, and that's why I think Ja will be the best of those 3. I'm not even going to go into the versus Russell Westbrook debate because you know where I stand on that. Efficiency and Russell Westbrook aren't in the same sentence.
No, without a doubt. And I think one of the biggest things to me, Randy, right now, I really look at it, and you kind of hit on it. You know, in Tennessee, you know, for that with Derrick Rose going up against guys like Russ at UCLA and so many other individuals. And, you know, we were robbed in whatever. I'm going to call it as how it is. You know, Derrick was robbed. But I can't tell you why he was robbed, but he was robbed, God damn it. But it comes down to it, though, like this. I look at Ja Morant right now, and I think about it. I look at the entire team as a whole. And right now, the casual fan can't even name who the Memphis Grizzlies head coach is.
Absolutely.
They can't. And you know what? A lot of them don't even know that Steven Adams. I heard one kid, he was in my comments last week on Mike on the Mike podcast. You can find that on Facebook whenever I feel like it. I don't really have a set date, so just add me. Just add me. But he was like, man, how's Valanciunas been? And I sat there, Randy, and I was like, I don't know. You tell me. Like, not in Memphis. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what. You know what? I feel like so many people are sleeping on Steven Adams right now. The only people that noticed it was Tony Bradley. And that's because he got
picked up.
He got picked up and carried away. And shout out Randy real quick. Got me my own merch. Got me my own T-shirt. I was going to wear it to the Bulls game tonight, but Robert Blaylock, I told you we should have bought the tickets last night, and now we can't go. But
thumbs down, Robert.
You messed up. Robert. God damn it, Robert. But it comes down to it like this. Randy, me and you have spoken many times about it. Before the season even started, I said, nah, Josh should have went number 1. And the only reason I said Josh should have went number 1 is because, and I'm not going to sit up here and say, because I'm a guru, because I understand everything, because I'm great at what I do. I'm not.
But you are.
I'm all right. I do okay. But the only reason I said that back in 2018 was because of how much he reminded me of Derrick Rose. Absolutely. Watching this guy play, I looked at everybody. I look at Zion. Randy, let's be real here. No mid-range, no 3-ball, no good handles, no defense. I mean, you know, he defensively in the paint, sure. But overall,
weak side blocks.
Right. Weak side blocks. It's like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? It's always being a dub team. And of course, if it's Valanciunas and Zion Williamson, it's going to look great. But it comes down to it like this, Randy. Why did nobody take notice to Ja? Do you think it was Murray State, or do you think or do you think it was just because Zion was a human highlight reel? Do you think people were being so caught up in the dunks that they didn't evaluate his entire game? When I saw Ja's entire game, me and you have spoken about it. I said, dude, this kid is Derrick Rose with a legitimate 3-ball. Derrick never got a chance to perfect his 3-ball because obviously the injuries. And it comes down to it, though. Ja's coming into the league with already a pretty efficient, shot.
Yeah.
So for you, what do you think the real miss was? And it even tied into RJ Barrett. Some people had him going at number 2. Some people had Cam Reddish going top 5. What is the real reason for the sleeping of Ja Morant?
I think it's Duke. That's the easy answer. You're talking about those 3 guys you just mentioned. They all play for the blue blood, and they're on national TV. Nobody even knew who Ja Morant was until his last year they went to the tournament.
Right.
And the only reason they even took notice then was because he was dunking on everybody, and he was a human highlight reel. But people that don't know this, Ja Morant was a AAU teammate of Zion Williamson. So all of these guys that are scouts and all that, you saw him because you were at the game watching Zion. You saw Ja. His dad's talked about it a million times. He didn't get noticed. He didn't get any. Frank Martin of South Carolina saw him a million times. Never, not once offered him. Didn't even offer him a walk-on. And Bruce Pearl just talked about this a couple weeks ago when they played Murray State and then when they're in college. He said, I went up to Ja and I said, where are you from? He said, I'm from South Carolina. He said, what the fuck is Frank Martin doing over there? How you miss a guy like that? How do you miss it? And Bruce Pearl called it then. He said, that guy's going to be special. Right. Hey, real quick, I want to go back to something you just touched on with Valanciunas. Before the season started, nobody even realized that he left, right? Grizzlies fans were pissed because last year the Grizzlies, they weren't very good, right? They were, lottery, well, right outside. They ended up making the play-in game, but they were middle of the pack, I'd say.
Right.
The Grizzlies front office made a calculated decision. We're going to develop. We're going to rebuild. And if that means that we're a play-in team again, so be it. Now, it hasn't turned out like that, but they had to get Valanciunas out of the way because he demands the ball. He's a scoring center. He can rebound, absolutely. And I'm a Valanciunas fan, but getting Steven Adams brought you a defensive toughness. It brought you a rebounding toughness. It brought you a protector. So it was a culture fit for the Grizzlies front office and Zach Kleiman and those guys. And it was not popular here in the city. They were all against it. Why could you get rid of a guy averaging 20 and 12? Now look, ain't nobody talking about it now, Mike.
Right. And you know what? For me, I was one of those guys who questioned it. I truly was. And it wasn't because I was like, Valanciunas is the man. It was because I didn't know who was going to step up in his place. Because I knew it wasn't Steven. I love Steven.
Right.
I got mad love for Steven, but I knew Steven wasn't averaging 20 points a game. That's just not who he is. He's Steven Adams. And Randy, I want to see how you feel about this because I've said it and I've gotten different reactions. Steven Adams at that position is Lonzo Ball as a point guard. Statistically, not really much going on there. But when you look at it from what he's really doing, whether it be in the pick and roll, the outside in the paint, blocking shots and just being there to set up screens for Ja, he's doing everything at an effective rate. He's being a floor facilitator from the center position. And that's something we rarely get to see. It's what Rudy Gobert pretends to be. Truly, Rudy, I saw you get dunked down by Russ. Jim Cross was talking about it for weeks. And I was talking about, like, Rudy, be better.
Be better, Rudy.
The only thing you shut down was the league, and that was it. You ain't locking
facts.
You ain't locking nobody else up but the league because you're coughing on everything. But Randy, when you really look at it, we had guys step up, and the one that I thought it was gonna be was Dylan Brooks, and obviously I can't hold him. You have these injuries, you have everything happen throughout the year, so I'm not too upset with him, but. To have so many Desmond Bain, this is the time, Randy. Me and you, we were the only ones talking about this cat.
Yeah.
When you look at Triple J, when you look at Desmond Bain, when you look at all the individuals that have stepped up and truly been a part of this team, and Randy, really quick, name me the head coach of the Memphis Grizzlies.
Taylor, MF, and Jenkins.
Thank you. Because I've had this in my comments for a very long time too. I never get Taylor Jenkins. I always get Memphis's head coach. I go, I've noticed.
Probably got a name.
Yeah, I was like, no one ever says Taylor. No one ever says Tay-Town. No one ever mentions it. But Randy, for you, when you look at, the emergence, and obviously we spoke on it, when you get rid of an all-star, because that's what Valanciunas was, is an all-star type talent, and replace him with somewhat of a journeyman in Steven Adams and someone who never really was that guy. It comes down to it is, what are we doing? And now that you see everything coming through and everything working out, how do you feel? How does it feel to know that, one, so much salary cap to play with? So much salary, because Valanciunas took a big chunk of that.
Yeah.
But do you think the real reason Valanciunas got moved was because he didn't know how to play with Ja the way Steven Adams does.
I think there was another move, and I know you're going to freak out when I say this name. They also got rid of Grayson Allen in the offseason too. And it's a developmental thing, right? It was not just about Ja. It was about getting guys like Desmond Bane to step up, Triple J to step up, and a protector. So people freaked out about getting rid of Grayson Allen, But what they knew they had to do was they had DeAnthony Melton, you got Tyus Jones, and you got Desmond Bane, you got Dylan Brooks. It was about developing these guys. And they were fine with, like I said, did they go into the season thinking they were going to be third in the West going into the All-Star break? I think if you got them in a room, they would probably tell you no. Right. They knew they had the talent to get there. They're so young, but they knew, look, we got Desmond Bane. He was a 4-year college player. We think he's going to be special, but he's sitting on the bench behind Grayson Allen because right now Grayson is technically the better player. Now, not no more. And people freaked. Oh, if that's what they said for years. If the Grizzlies have a guy that hits threes, they're bound to trade him. Now you got Desmond Bane averaging 18 points a game. Look, when the Grizzlies were in their heyday with the grit and grind, their leading scorer didn't average 18 points a game. Now we got Desmond Bane. He's our third leading scorer, averaging 18 a game. I mean, so it was about development and what this front office has done. And I'll go back to this again. The front office was laughed at for years. If you think about it, they really lucked into a couple things, right? They got rid of Pau Gasol years ago, ended up with little brother Mark, who was not even an NBA player, not even close to an NBA player at the time. You get Zebo, who's off of several questionable teams. Nobody really wanted him. Tony Allen gets, kind of signed in because Chris Wallace had a good relationship with him in Boston. And that's how that team came together. It wasn't built more as much as it was bought was scraps, right? Mike Conley was one that they drafted that they sat on the bench for 2 or 3 years. The Grizzlies front office has taken this approach like these guys are young. We're going to play them right away. We're going to develop them. We're going to get them in the right situations. And that is a different feeling as a Grizzlies fan to see a front office that's proactive about doing things. And this is the result. When you let players that are talented do their thing, look at us now. Third in the West, balling out.
Right. And, you kind of just set me up perfectly. But before that, we're going to touch on it. Grayson Allen will not – it's Voldemort. We do not speak of Grayson Allen on this show. All I'm going to say to that, March 4th, we will be at the United Center. We will be at the United. It's all I'm going to say.
Watch your back, Gray. Get him.
Don't matter which way you look, Gray. You ain't going to see it coming. But with that being said, just know I'm excited. Javonte Green, do your thing, boy. My big thing right now, though, Randy, the Bulls play the Memphis Grizzlies tonight, and we are very excited about that. Obviously, Ja is either a game time decision or will probably be relatively limited, or who knows? Or he'll go off for 50 and show everybody why he's Ja effing Morant. But who knows? Zach LaVine's healthy, and that's pretty much it. Everyone else who was injured is still injured. We are not going to be getting the guys back. The crew will be around March 15th. I'm excited about it. I've been waiting. The Chicago Bulls, Randy, just real quick, before we get into the game itself, power rankings came out, Randy. We are 11th.
The disrespect.
39-21, first in the East. Lonzo Ball is out. Patrick Williams, Alex Caruso, Derrick Jones Jr., pardon me, and Zach LaVine have all been limited throughout the year. We went through COVID 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, all the way down to Omicron. We invented Omicron. Chicago, born, raised Omicron.
Yeah.
And it comes down to it is we are still first in the East. DeMar DeRozan, another MVP candidate. DeMar DMVP Rosen, Debo, is doing his thing. Just won an all-star game with LeBron James in front of Zach LaVine's face. So I don't know what that's going to do with team chemistry, but it had to hurt. But Randy, for you right now, when you look at the East and when you look at the West and you see a team like Chicago, which is very similar to Memphis, and I keep telling people that because they were counted out, they were playing teams, they were, they're too young, they're not quite there yet. We got a guy like Lonzo Ball, very similar to Steven Adams. Why didn't you bring in a Kyle Lowry? Why didn't you bring in a Russ? We didn't hear the Russ one as much, but it's just an example. Yeah. Why didn't you bring back Derrick Rose was the conversation. You go for this bald white guy. Yeah. Caruso, the GOAT. The greatest player to ever play. I mean, let's be real about it, Randy. Expectations were low for this team, and they are first in the East. Memphis is third in the West. This matchup tonight, and I'll tweet it out a little bit. I'll fix it up, twist it up. Fully healthy, bar for bar. Caruso, Lonzo, everybody. Dylan Brooks, everybody's available. Taylor versus Billy. What's going down in a 7-game series in the eyes of Randy Jones?
I think it goes 7 for one, and I think that right now, if I had to pick this year, I would have to give the Bulls the advantage for this reason and this reason only. DeMar DeRozan, he's been there and done that. He's the mid-range GOAT. I think that you got guys like Vooch that they're veterans, and the Grizzlies, they don't fear. So they're young. They don't know to fear it. They don't know to fear the moment. So they're going to be there. But I think playoff, that intensity, that what it means, and you get into a half-court game, that's what we haven't seen the Grizzlies do. We know that DeMar DeRozan, we know what he can do in the playoffs. He's still going to drop off you 20, 25 at minimum. He's still going to do his thing. You know Vooch is going to be there. You know Lonzo Ball is going to do all the intangible things regardless of what he puts up on the box. You know that Alex Caruso, we've seen him win a championship. We know what that guy brings. It's effort. It's energy. Patrick Williams, if he can keep hitting 50% from 3, my goodness. But they got a combination of the youth and the veteran leadership. And really the only veteran, I guess it's 2 veterans for the Grizzlies, is Steven Adams and Kyle Anderson. And I don't think either one of them has a ship, right? I mean, and they haven't been there and done that. Not that DeRozan does, but it's just what he brings in that moment that I think I would give him the edge.
Right, without a doubt. And we got a couple more questions for you because we know you got some baseball to watch. I got some baseball to watch. College baseball is my new true love. I was with this girl named MLB. She was nothing but toxic. You can hear my dog. You can hear my dog Rizzo barking about it upstairs right now, already upset. She was like toxica. She was horrible. She was wrong for me. She just didn't want to show up. She didn't want to go out. Didn't want to do nothing with me. So I went to college baseball in the NCAA, and
they'll take you in.
Nothing but love. Guys at Ole Miss, guys at Mississippi State, guys in the Tennessee Volunteers asking me to come out there, enjoy a couple beers, enjoy the barbecues, enjoy the tailgates. I don't remember the Cubs ever asking me to do anything but sweet peanuts every morning. Hey.
Tennessee Vols 27-1 to put it on them boys from Iona yesterday. 27-1, Mike.
My boys go hard. My boy, I picked the right team. I didn't bandwagon. It was my first team ever. And Chicago, you don't really got a baseball team like that when it comes to college baseball. Not at all.
You're welcomed in with open arms, Mike.
Yeah, I'm full-blown Tennessee. I'm rocking with them. But, Randy, just one more question for you before we get you out of here and we talk about a little in off the bench before you get out. When you look at Memphis right now, the expectation going into the playoffs is what in the eyes of Randy as of right now, fully healthy, assuming at the end of the year?
Western Conference Finals for me is the minimum. I think a lot of people, I heard some guys on ESPN pick them to actually make the finals. Obviously, that would be great. I think that when you run up on teams like Phoenix and Golden State that, again, have that veteran leadership, they've been there and done that. Guys like Chris Paul, Devin Booker, those guys are super talented and they're playing off the chain when they get healthy. And the Golden State Warriors, I don't have to educate anybody on what they do. Goodness, they got several championships. Now, if I'm going to match up with a team, Mike, in the Western Conference Finals, I would rather match up with the Warriors than the Suns. That's going to contradict everything I just said. But the Grizzlies, historically, when they started their run, the Grizzlies were the one team that gave them all they wanted, right? And they still do it this year. They played them this year in Golden State and beat them. Now, you got Klay Thompson, you got all those guys back, but I want Western Conference Finals, and I want a competitive 7-game series all on the line, Ja versus Steph. That's what I want to see.
Without a doubt. And, I'm hoping we see you there in the finals, Randy, some point or another. I think Zach LaVine, Flight 8 versus John Morant, the Skywalkers, it would be an amazing, amazing showing. And honestly, I'm hoping we see a dunk competition between the two at some point within their careers. Next year, man, I know Anthony Edwards said he's an in-game dunker and he's not a fan of the dunk contest. So that's fine. I understand it. But I'm going to need Zion, Ja, not Gordon Hayward, pardon me. I'm going to need Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine all in that dunk contest. I don't need a Jalen Green ever again.
We don't need it, man. They got to do something with the dunk contest. If they're not going to have those big names, then let's let these guys that are professional dunkers come in and do it, Mike. Let's let some And1, Harlem Globetrotter, whatever it is. I don't even know what's out there, but I see guys on TikTok and Twitter all the time that are doing crazy dunks.
Without a doubt. Now, before we get out of here, Randy, you can bounce if you want to bounce. We're just going to get a quick word from our sponsors real quick. This is Mike Hughes, Mike on the Mic's personal sponsor, not associated with 1252. Hopefully soon, very will be. We're getting that into the works right now. Bench Mob Chicago. Obviously, I'm repping their merch the entire time. That's why I look like a criminal. But I promise you, I don't wear this all the time. I don't wear the beanies. I don't wear the hoodies, but I couldn't just stop. I couldn't stop. Bench Mob Chicago is the best Chicago Bulls fan page. They make merch like this hoodie, this beanie, this hoodie. Sorry. They make wristbands. They make T-shirts, Shy Slam Jam T-shirts. I'm going to give you a real quick picture of it on the top. Bench Mob Chicago. You can find them at benchmob.com. You can follow them on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you got to find them, you can find them. And the best part about it is it's far more than just a merchandise website. You can find them and keep up to date with everything Chicago Bulls. They do Bench Mobber of the Night with Randy. I think you'll love this one. The best part about Bench Mobber of the Night is every single Bulls game, they pick the best bench player of the night. Now, as of late, Alex Caruso and company haven't been healthy, but Ayo Dosunmu, Kobe White, Javonte Green, and newly added bench mobber winner of the night, Tristan Thompson, the Kardashian killer. I mean, was just doing his thing the other night, man, was doing his thing. So definitely check out benchmob.com. They do amazing things. They make merch that some Bulls players even wear. You know, they're really up and coming, and I really do support them. If you do want to see a couple pictures of their merch, there it is right there for you on the table. This is the wristbands, the T-shirts. Obviously, you can get one of these hoodies. It's dope. It's got a Bulls head on the back. It spells out Bench Mob. It's sick. They do everything. So shout out Bench Mob for always sponsoring Mike on the Mic. Randy, it's been an honor having you on the show, my brother. At the end of our advertisements and everything we got going on and words from our sponsors, we are going to have a quick video from a little bit of In Off the Bench podcast. We are having Armando, Big Mondo in the cut, talking about his beef with Josh Donaldson. I'm super excited about it. You guys haven't heard it yet. I've been living it. This man and Josh Donaldson, it's on site. It is a true fact. So again, stay tuned. We have another interview coming for you very quickly. And after our word from our sponsors, we will be hearing Randy's boys, Jim Cross, interviewing a former Chicago White Sox player. I'm truly excited about it. We got a great story for you there. Again, Randy, I love you, brother. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Big love. Keep the work up, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Hello, this is Paul from Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. We are located at 1026 South State Street in historic downtown Lockport, Illinois. We are very excited to be part.
Again, I just want to say thank you to our sponsors for always hooking us up at 1252 Sports Entertainment. Thank you, Bench Mob Chicago, for always supporting not only 1252 Entertainment, but Mike on the Mic podcast. It's a truly honor working with all of these individuals. And thank you, Randy Jowers, for checking out the show, for coming on, my brother. It's been a long time in coming. Randy and I are going to be having a show together soon, Chicago, Memphis type style. It's going to be far more than just sports. So definitely check out that podcast. We're going to be starting up very soon. I'm very excited about it. Once a week type-ish. We're not going to be doing it too much. But I'm really excited about it, man. And before we have a good friend of mine, a Chicago native, a diehard Chicago White Sox fan, Armando, we're going to be talking about his personal beef on Twitter with Josh Donaldson, like we mentioned earlier. It's amazing seeing those two go back and forth with each other all the time. We're going to be talking about the Chicago White Sox 2021 season, the rebuild as a whole, the lockout, the MLB Players Association, Rob Manfred, and much more going into free agency for the White Sox, 2022 expectations. I'm super excited about it. But before that, our last mention of In Off the Bench podcast, they did us the honor and the privilege. If you haven't already, check out In Off the Bench podcast. They do amazing things over there. I'm on there regularly. It's a great show, and they interview all college baseball players. They interview all MLB type scouts, and it's amazing. It's amazing to watch these guys work, and they actually gave us a little bit of insight on Anthony Renato. This is an interview I got the privilege to be a part of this week. I was so excited about it, to be able to talk to an Italian American who played for the White Sox in 2016. It's an amazing interview and an amazing listen. So they gave us the privilege to be able to use some of their audio from that interview that I was a part of. Anthony Renato speaking about how he ended up getting called up to the Chicago White Sox in 2016 in July, the same day that Chris Sale cut up his jersey. I'm super excited about it. Here's a little bit of In Off the Bench podcast. Again, give them a follow if you can. Shout out to my guys, Jim, DB, and Randy for this interview. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. It's some really, really nostalgic stuff because it feels like it was just yesterday that this stuff happened. Here's the interview.
Since you brought up Chris Sale, were you there when he did the whole cutting up of the old jersey type thing? I think that was that year, was it not?
Hey, I got the best story for you if you guys got 5 minutes, because this is,
Let's go.
So the reason that I got to pitch in the major leagues and hit a home run was because Chris Sale cut up the jerseys. So I was in AAA, and my manager calls me in the office, and he's like, "Hey, dude, I need you to be on standby. Just hang out in the office right now." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, dude, you might be going up to Chicago." And this was, mind you, I'm just a month in with this organization, so I hadn't been called up yet, and I didn't know anybody. And I was like, "Oh, all right." So I just sat in the office for like 45 minutes. He went out and took a phone call and all these different things. And he comes back and he's like, "All right, yeah, you're going to go up. I can't tell you what's going on right now, like blah, 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 but there's some drama going on in the major league team." And I'm like, "All right, cool." So I start packing my stuff, and then I go on Twitter and I see everything that Chris Sale got suspended because he cut up a bunch of jerseys and all this stuff. So they had to have a bullpen day and push the different starter up. So I was going to make his start 2 days from now or whatever, because he was going to be suspended. So I get to go up, and I'm in the bullpen for the first 2 games. I get called up the next day. I go up there, and it's a doubleheader. I get there in between the 2 games, and there was a fight in the locker room between 2 of the players. I'm not gonna say the players, but because I don't think it publicly went out there. But there was a fight between the 2 players, and I'm like, "What the hell is going on?" Like, I walk into this mess, and then had to go play a game, and we had a walk-off win, and I had to go celebrate with everybody. And then the next day, I'm in the clubhouse, and the manager comes up to me, and he's like, "Yeah, dude, you're starting for Sale." And that was the game that I hit the home run. And then the next day, he comes off his suspension, and like we just became friends. He just comes up to me. He's like, "Dude, F you." And he dropped, like, he said the F word. And he's like, "You take my spot, you hit a home run." And then we literally laughed, became best friends. And at the end of the year, we had these replica jerseys that were sitting on the table. And I was like, "Dude, this is going to be so weird." I was like, "Can you just sign this for me? I want to frame it," because it's the replica jerseys that he cut up. And he was like, "Yeah, dude, I got you." He signs it, and he writes "fuck these jerseys" on the jerseys and cuts them up. And so I have it framed in the shop. So I don't know if you saw it in the shop, but I have it in there. And I just think it's the coolest story because, I mean, I got to pitch that game that he got suspended for. He writes that on the jerseys without me asking, cuts them up. I was like, this is like a story that was forever meant to be. And I think it was just so cool that I got the jersey and got it framed.
Really quick, once again, I want to say shout out to our sponsors, always supporting 1252 Sports Entertainment and Mike on the Mic podcast. It is an honor to be speaking with all of you guys today. Today, I have a great friend, my Fortnite brother. We play PlayStation all night long until dawn. It's amazing to be speaking to my White Sox brother, Armando. How do you feel today, brother? Welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, man. I feel good today, man. It's a good day. We're feeling blessed, so on to the next days, man.
Man, it would be even more of a blessing if I could have you here in person right now. But for people that don't know, Xfinity does not love me or Armando. Xfinity, you need to get your shit together before we start sponsoring T-Mobile. But Armando, I gotta ask you right off rip. You know, we've been brothers for a couple years now. I'm North Side, you're South Side. I need to know right off rip right now for you, how amazing does it feel about this rebuild and the way the Chicago White Sox are going right now? How was the 2021 season as a whole for you?
On the 21 season, man, it was positive, man. I mean, all these years we've been playing like crap. We've had horrible trades, horrible development at times. But in the end, I mean, we pulled through as fans and as the team, and we brought in the right people, and now we're just pushing through and hoping that the next year, if baseball's back, we get another chance to get get that trophy, man.
And you kind of mentioned that we've had conversations about it in private. We've said things that I cannot publicly say on air because of how frustrated we are with Rob Manfred. But how much does it suck? And this is just being a real honest question because I can't know what it's like. In 2015, I knew my Cubs were good. 2016, I got to fully enjoy it. How upsetting is it for you to know that your guys are finally here and finally relevant again? And now they're kind of at a disadvantage because of COVID, and then they're at a disadvantage because of the lockout. What has that been like for you, trying to understand that it's honestly going to be a process to try to get these guys going?
No, yeah, I mean, above all, like, as fans, like, we can't even go to games at times. And with COVID hit before, and then now that we were able to and we had a good season, even though, we got knocked out, we're struggling now because we don't know if we're going to have a season. The team can't talk with each other. Yeah, a bunch of these guys are practicing, and our MILB guys are in their spring training, quote unquote, working on their stuff. So, like, I mean, it's a slow process again, and it's going to feel like, a slow process for a lot of teams. But, like, if the Sox are as good as we know they are, I think they're going to pull through whenever the season opens up, man, because they have the tools, they have the experience now, they have the team. We're just missing a few spots in the team, but overall, like, I think we got this in the bag. Like, maybe we might not win again, but I feel like we'll push forward more than we did last year.
Right. And you kind of talk about, the small holes that you do need to fix. A big one right now, second base, right field, another starter in the rotation. You don't know what's going to go on with one of the greatest closers of all time, Chicago Cubs, Craig Kimbrell. But it comes down to it, though, to where when you look at free agency, and we're going to probably get an idea right now, if anybody doesn't know, it is February 26th. We're going to have an understanding of what's going to happen with the season in the next 2 days. February 28th is the exact date that the MLB and the Players Association has to reach an agreement, or the 2022 season as of right now will be canceled, and all of its spring training games, obviously. But for you, let's fast forward to when the lockout ends. Free agency will obviously continue to kick off. Anthony Rizzo will return to the Chicago Cubs, hopefully, and many other individuals will go to their landing spots. But Mondo, for you, the big dogs right now, the top three, would you say you want on your wish list for joining the Chicago White Sox? Who is it and why?
Well, top right now, I've been hearing a lot of chatter. Chris Bryant, man. Like, if he can't go back to the Cubs, man, but he could come back to Chicago, I mean, I'd welcome him with open arms. I mean, he's a good player. He's all around. He's got the experience of World Series, playoffs. I mean, this guy could help us out, help the guys that haven't had that experience.
Right.
Second would be, I'd say Nick Castellanos. Good right fielder. I mean, this man, he could hit, he could field. The Cubs didn't give him a chance when he's there. And
don't do that. Don't do that, Mondo.
Just saying.
We saved that man's career, and you know it.
Hey, I'm not saying his career was almost dead, but I mean, yeah,
it was pretty close.
But imagine if you kept him, then you.
Oh man, sure. I think about it to this day, bro. I think about it to this day.
And then I mean. The last guy, I guess it'd be Segura, maybe.
That would be solid.
Segura. Yeah, I mean, they're saying a trade between us, Kimbrel for Segura would be a good trade. And
right.
It's not a bad thing.
My thing is, for you, like with Chris Bryant, I feel like Chris Bryant, and this is just me like being real, like he solves every hole other outside of pitching. Yeah. Like we put that man, let's be real here. Chris Bryant in the 2021 season played left field, right field, center field, third base, shortstop, second base, first base. He played everything except pitcher and catcher. Like that's the reality of the situation. So I feel like, we look at Cespedes, and I wanted to ask you about that too. Cespedes coming up right now, getting the understanding that this kid is a generational talent, just like Luis Robert. Is it worth paying Nick Castellanos $200+ million if Cespedes is right around the corner on a rookie deal?
Definitely.
Right. I think you in my honest opinion, you'd be better off having Chris be your second baseman in all honesty, or Yohan Moncada as your second baseman, or whatever you want to do. I think it would be great.
Chris Bryant, obviously, yeah, he brings all that to the table. And with Luis Garcia coming back and he's going to stay as a utility pretty much, like, coming off the bench and all that. If we get for Chris Bryant, we can actually use Luis Garcia for what we're paying him to be.
Right.
Because if we don't get somebody of that caliber, then we're going to be using Luis Garcia like we've been using him the past few years, and it's going to be like, and he's a good player, and I'm never going to forget the things he did for us in the playoffs with that 3-run shot. But like, we know that he's not the person that's got to fill those holes.
Right. And I think, when the way I look at it, and this is me being completely unbiased, when Kyle Schwarber went down in the first, 3 games in 2016, the Cubs, when you really look at that Cubs team, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't by any stretch. You look at guys we had in the outfield, and of course he's a huge name now, but Jorge Soler in 2016 wasn't a huge name. When you look at Max Scherzer, to this day, he's not a huge name. He's a journeyman. Or Matt Scherzer, pardon me. It comes down to it though. You really can just fill those holes, and instead of paying someone like Castellanos, I think you can get away with just getting Chris Bryant and trusting either Cespedes, Gavin Sheets, Jake Berger, whoever you want to throw out there. Who cares? Probably not Jake. He's a little bit on the meteor side, but definitely not Jake. But it comes down to it though, to where I feel like you have the prospects right now and guys who are just available. We look at Billy Hamilton and his resurgence in Chicago. I had amazing conversations with his wife. I didn't get a chance to have Billy on the show, but they're an amazing family and they love Chicago. So I don't know I haven't heard if he's signed with anybody yet, but I'm really looking forward to see where he goes and if he's willing to stay in Chicago on a cheap deal, because he was doing his thing for a short period of time.
That man was killing it first. I mean, the enthusiasm he brings to the team,
right?
And like, he was hyped.
Mm-hmm.
He was hyped, and Tim Anderson, being there with Tim Anderson, and then Brian Goodwin, and all them guys.
Right.
That's what we need in this team. Like, that's how the Sox progress. That's how they get hot.
Right.
When the team is together and on fire. Right.
And you talked about that a little bit, being on fire, having these conversations. You and I said a lot of things about Tony R. We spoke a lot about it last year. How do you think the first year went with Tony La Russa experiment? How do you think it's going to go? And do you see him being here for the foreseeable future?
If the Sox keep on going the way they're going, and the leadership that he's been given, I mean, he's the captain of the ship.
Right.
But he's not one of those that's like, hey, man, you can't do this. Hey, you can't do that. Which we were afraid of because of all the things we've heard before and all the things we've seen. But, I mean, Tim Anderson's been flooring. He's been doing his thing. Abreu's been the leader he's been. It's like the team is strong because of Tony. And I can say that with a smile on my face because I was afraid. But now, us Sox fans, like, yeah, not every manager is gonna be perfect because we're human. Right. We don't make mistakes in the field, and some decisions are not good. Blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, like with Tony, we made it to the playoffs again. He played better than the previous years. But I mean, overall, I feel like he could be here for a while. If his health, lets him in, and if that's what the Sox are willing to do.
Right. And Mondo, we got one question for you before we get into the big conversation. We got a surprise for everybody on the show tonight, but it comes down to it though. Somebody who I think might not be on this team come 2022 is Dallas Keuchel. I think, let's be real here, Mondo. You go into the 2021 playoffs, and your highest paid player in Dallas Keuchel, it's at what, $20 million per year, isn't even on the playoff roster. He's fully healthy. There's nothing wrong with him. He's not even on the taxi squad list. They didn't want him. Tony La Russa did not want him in that rotation or anywhere even in the ballpark. What does that mean to you, knowing that you have all this money that you can spend? The Reinsdorfs have all this money that they can play with, and Dallas Keuchel didn't even make the rotation.
I mean, you've seen how he played all year last year. I mean, he's a good guy. He had the stuff, and maybe he's tired now, or he just didn't have it in him the games he played. He was only there for 8 innings at this point. I mean, maybe we should have given him a shot. Who knows? Because I mean, all our starting pitchers that were doing amazing in the whole year, we're getting clobbered by Houston. But I mean, that money. I mean, if we could trade him or get rid of him somehow, I mean, and get somebody good at second base, and then get Chris Bryant to fill in all the other holes and help us out. I mean, I'll do it, man. I mean, we gotta make moves, and the good thing is Reinsdorf has been open to it now. Because thank God for Rick Hahn. Because without Rick Hahn, I don't think none of these things would be happening.
Oh yeah, Hahn without a doubt. You know, I give him all the credit in the world. Here's what I will say, Mondo. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think he's a great scout. I don't think he puts together the right teams. I don't think he knows how to do that. But I'll tell you what he is good at. He's great at making trades. Amazing at making trades. And instead of drafting guys, he gets guys who are already being developed, who are already proven, who are already six-tool guys, getting international stars. You know how I feel about it. I was at so many White Sox games last year for two people, Luis Robert and Nick Madrigal, and I ended up snagging Nick Madrigal and taking him home with me. I wish I could have took Luis. I wish I could have, but I can't say I did. But Mondo, for you, going into the season, you know, Yohan Moncada didn't have a great season. You know, Jose Abreu is getting a little bit older, and Andrew Vaughn looks amazing. That kid is a killer. I watched him pump not one, but 2 home runs in a single game when I was there. You know, what a stud that kid is. For you, who's going to be your breakout player of the year, bearing injury? You know, if everything goes right, who's someone you're really excited to watch right now?
Oh man, I'm gonna say Dylan, bro. Dylan Cease.
My twin flame. I don't know. Hey, I don't know if you guys watching the live right now have seen Dylan Cease, but I get every time I go to a Sox game, I'll get Mitchell Trubisky or I'll get Dylan Cease. It is the weirdest thing, but the kid's got great command. And honestly, Mondo, I'm a little disappointed in you because, you know, you talk so much smack about the Cubs, but all I hear you talking about is Dylan Cease, Chris Bryant, Nick Castellanos, Craig Kimbrell. You love my guys, don't you, Mondo? You just want to admit it, right?
No, I mean, I like the team, bro, the players, man. But, you know, it's not even just the affiliation of the Cubs with the Sox. I mean, when you're a good player, you love the players. You know,
Mondo, you know, I got an extra jersey over here. I think it fit you nicely. I'm just letting you know.
No. I got my Southside pride on, man.
Oh, I know. And for you guys that don't know, Mondo came on to the show before the internet thing happened with a City Edition 2021 jersey on. He had the division championship hat on. He was flexing on me. So you know what? Maybe it was a good thing that Mondo didn't get to be on the show in person today, because he was gumming the shit on me. He truly was. But Mondo, we're talking about shitting on people. I have a conversation with you, and we talked about it the day it happened. Me and you were freaking out about it. I need to talk about your beef. You got issues, my boy. You got problems in the streets right now with Minnesota Twins third baseman Josh Donaldson. For those of you who don't know, Josh Donaldson is now a Minnesota Twin. He's everywhere. He's a journeyman. And Big Mondo is famous on Twitter. If you haven't found Armando, let the people know your @ real quick so they can give you a follow.
Yo, my Twitter @ is @the Eagles 06, man. Follow me, man. Follow me.
@the Eagles 6. Follow Mondo. You can find him getting free Xbox games. You can find him pissing off MLB players. The man gets responses. He's the man of the people. So Mondo, I'm pulling up the image right now for everybody that hasn't seen it before. Everybody, please read this. Josh Donaldson. This is 10/26/21. This is the exact moment that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Mondo, was this when they lost to Houston, or was this after a game in Houston?
This one?
Yeah.
This was probably like in the middle of the playoffs, I think.
Right. This is when they had, I think it was what, a 3-1 lead, Houston?
Yeah.
So Josh Donaldson posts, hi. He's just being, he's just trolling. He's doing his thing. Big Mondo pulls out a stat from earlier on in the season of the Sox beating the Twins with Josh Donaldson face on it, 13-3. Josh Donaldson claps back. Your team played 4 more games than ours. Congrats. And then they keep going into it, and they keep having beef. More people chimed in. Josh Donaldson is becoming a menace on Twitter. Mondo, take us through your beef with Josh Donaldson. What was that like for you?
Man, it was like the greatest thing ever. I mean, he was out here in the beginning, in the middle of the season going, hey, sticky stuff, blah, blah, blah. When I tell you that me as a normal guy sitting in my house watching the same game he's watching, and he's going back and forth with me, that's kind of sad, man. Like, it's like, if he can't take it, shouldn't be playing, man. I mean, we got 3 World Series rings. How much he got? I don't know.
Not one, my friend. Not one.
Not one.
Man, it was crazy. Like for me, and just to speak on my part, I had nothing to do with this, and even I was excited, bro. I was like, Big Mondo pissing off a Major League Baseball player, and Mondo, we're trying to work it out right now. I've shot him a message. I've said, hey, listen, you're talking smack to my boy. I don't appreciate it. We're trying to get Josh on the show so that you and him can hash it out, and hopefully one day we get that. But for now, man, like Mondo, it was an honor having you on the show today, bro. It truly does speak volumes to just like how deep my friends in Chicago roll. Like die-hard fans. So Mondo, real quick, is there anything you want to say to people, whether it be about stuff you're going on in your personal life or just baseball in general, how excited you are about anything?
Well, I'm excited for the season to start. Hopefully Rob Manfred and MLB and the players can agree on stuff this coming days. And I hope to see y'all in spring training. I hope to see y'all in the games.
Yes, sir.
And hope y'all have a blessed day. Go Chicago sports, go Sox, go Cubs.
Yes, sir. Well,
Go Bulls, man.
This has been Mike Hughes. You are listening to Mike on the Mic podcast on 1252 Sports Entertainment. You can check us out at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Central time, and 8 p.m. Eastern time. Everybody can ask Mondo. I have been working very hard on learning my times just to be able to say that. So I hope Harry and everybody else is very proud of me. But with that being said, definitely tune in next week. You can check out Fred Hubner, Fat Mike, Allen, Bears Fans with a Brain, and so many other shows on the 1252 Sports Network. It's been a blast. Mondo, again, thank you for coming on the show. This has been Mike Hughes. Peace.
Hello, this is Paul from Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. We are located at 1026 South State Street in historic downtown Lockport, Illinois. We are very excited to be partnering up with the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show, as well as the 1252 brand, because we are one of the few Chicagoland breweries that embrace sports and sports culture. Come in for a fresh brewed beer made right here in Lockport while catching the game of your favorite team. Stay for the live music that we have booked every weekend, or just come for a cozy atmosphere to enjoy a good conversation with a friend, loved one, or complete stranger. Nick and Ivy makes you feel right at home no matter what the occasion is. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook by searching for Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. Visit our website for our up-to-date tap list or to go shopping on our online store at nickivybrewing.com. That's Nikivy brewing.com. Come in today for a fresh brewed beer born and raised in Lockport, Illinois.
Hey, Susie, thanks for hooking me up with the Fat Mike markdown on my insurance rates at State Farm. This is awesome.
No, Mike. The Fat Mike markdown.
Hey, Susie, thanks for hooking me up with the Fat Mike markdown on my insurance rates at State Farm. This is awesome.
No, Mike. The Fat Mike markdown is not a real thing.
I don't believe that for a second. Let me repay you the favor and tell you and all my friends about the Fat Mike markdown.
Okay, well, that's just fine, considering that State Farm just gives everyone surprisingly great rates.
You heard it here first, folks. So give Susie Sheehan over at State Farm Agency a call and ask for the Fat Mike Markdown. It's the best.
For the real deal, give us a call at 815-306-0184 or go to SusieSheehan.com to request a quote. My team at the Susie Sheehan Agency is here to help with all of your insurance needs for auto, home, and life, and we service Illinois and Indiana. Also, if you mention the Fat Mike Markdown, $10 will be donated to a local charitable organization through our Quotes for Good program in your name. Remember, that's 815-306-0184 or SusieSheehan.com. Thanks so much.
Get on it, everybody.
Woohoo!